Hello, I'm Toby Fox from 1.5 million new homes, the local government challenge, sponsored by Redloft and by Hadley Property Group. The government needs 1.5 million new homes built, and its key delivery arm in that national ambition is local government, either as the planning authority, guiding and giving permission for new homes, or as a joint venture partner with the private sector, or delivering directly itself. So I'm visiting a different council every month to ask what works and what needs to change to enable councils to deliver more homes. And I'm here in Hounslow on a winter's day at the Lambton Parkside scheme with Peter O'Brien from Hounslow Council to talk a little bit about what needs to change to deliver even more homes. Now, Peter, this is a successful scheme. This is delivering loads of new homes. But there are other schemes in Hounslow that aren't doing quite so well. So can you think of one and describe it and what its potential might be, and then explain what needs to change in order to get it moving?
Definitely. So I think for me, I have a real interest in public land and thinking about how we make best use of it.
Yeah.
And this scheme exemplifies what really intelligent use of public land can look like.
Yeah.
Thinking about the ingredients, thinking about who's going to deliver, thinking about what other benefits you might get. Yep. 940 homes here, civic centre down the road, an enhanced park. Thinking about some other sites that we've got in the borough, and
Yep.
I'm thinking of a relatively well-known one called Cavalry Barracks,
Yep.
which was an MOD site, as the name suggests, and it was sold some time ago to a party who subsequently went bankrupt. And so that site has effectively had itself stuck for quite a number of years now. And I suppose one thing that kind of, from my perspective, it's about how do we as a public sector keep our hand enough on the tiller to be able to guide delivery through the various different stages over time.
Okay. Is there a trust issue there? I mean, it's gone into administration. It would be nice to think, a simplistic way of thinking about it might be the government in some way should give you the authority as a local authority to take over that space and decide what role it can play for the community.
So look, I'm a big believer in the power of local government with the right resources in it, because let's not pretend every bit of local government is able to lead on development, be proper place stewards. You need to invest in that capacity. But for those places like Hounslow that have that capacity in place, I'm a massive believer in our potential to drive the investment that's needed in our local communities and make that fit. So take an example here. Mm-hmm. We used this site to secure ourselves a new civic down the road because the civic that was here had passed its natural life, and it was time to find a new solution for that.
That's the council's head offices.
Correct,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we had to think about how are we going to achieve that with the most efficient use of the resources that we've got. And of course, land is a massive resource. Mm-hmm. So using that land to secure that investment down the road, in the park, and secure on-site housing delivery, 940 units, 40% affordable, and 75% of them are council homes. Yeah. All of that came through careful partnering, careful use of land, careful use of local resources in order to be able to secure that outcome. If you just sell a piece of land to a third party, your tools are reduced to the planning process. Right. An important process, big believer in it. At the same time, you're taking away the magic bit, which is the land. And that's where a lot of the control sits.
And this is your lever to say, this is what we want to happen with that land. So what has to change for you to be able to exercise that lever at Cavalry Barracks that we were just talking about?
Taking Cavalry Barracks as an example, or we have been talking about a site in Feltham, another MOD site in Feltham. We're starting to play with ideas about what would a public-public partnership look like. How could we partner with different parts of government in order to secure the infrastructure investment, in order to secure the investment in affordable homes, in order to understand what other bits of public infrastructure might be needed, and to think about also the commercial side too, to understand what it might mean in the round for public value and how can we work together to maximise that public value and secure that delivery as fast as humanly possible.
So Camberwell Barracks has been sat unused for a while. So what is it that stopped you from doing that already? What's preventing that partnership from happening?
Well, so once the land was sold and the party went bankrupt, it went to an administrator who then went on to seek to sell that piece of land again. So you could argue, why didn't we just come up with the money to go and do it? Yeah. But that's a lot of upfront cash. And I think there are better ways that the public sector can think about how it generates value and makes use of its cash in the short term.
And what's at stake? What's the prize at the end of it all? What could that site deliver, do you think, in your wildest dreams?
Well, so that site, I mean, if you look at it and just ask yourself, even from a pure financial business case and looking at kind of what it means for UK PLC, we've had years of non-delivery, the VAT receipts we would have got, the the corporation tax that would have been paid, the income tax on the workers, the council tax on occupied homes, the people who would have been in the social homes on site, the people who would have been in the affordable homes. All of this delay costs money to the system. Yeah. So by keeping that hand on the tiller, the argument would be that we can secure all of those outcomes faster and get a better overall result for the public purse.
So Peter, think of a different site now, another challenging site, and tell us what needs to change on that site to deliver more homes.
So we've been working for years now in Brentford, and if anyone's been down to Brentford recently, you'll see real success stories like the almost now historic Brentford Lock, the Ballymore scheme in Brentford known as the Brentford Project, and there's a real buzz, there's a real energy down there, and you can feel that sense of a town reawakening and a really active high street once more. And so we're really, really proud
You could coin a phrase, regeneration.
Well, you might even call it that. And what we really like about it, I think, is that what's there in Brentford now feels like it's got a contribution over time from architecture from different eras, loads of shops and retailers. It's got a real community and real life to it. Yeah. But it hasn't all been straightforward. And like many will be aware, the last few years have been very difficult in terms of the delivery of schemes. And the council and other partners in Brentford have really struggled to get a number of schemes that worked at the height of the last boom. They're no longer working.
So just to pause there, so this is the effect of COVID and then materials and labour costs rising, war in Ukraine causing inflation, all of that sort of double, triple, quadruple whammy stuff that's affected everyone.
All that, costs up, value stagnant or slightly down, and you don't have to be a development expert to realise that it's very difficult to make schemes work. It's even harder if those schemes include a lot of social and community infrastructure in them, or a lot of social and affordable housing in them. So when you've had a permission that's maybe like 5 years old now, the sums in it may not be working quite as well. Yeah. You add into that changes connected with the Building Safety Act, for example, and another layer of cost has gone into schemes from that era. So we and others have found ourselves looking to revisit a number of schemes that we've been working on in order to make them more efficient where we can, in order to think about how we generate value in the long term. And critically, and this is again really important for me, with public sector finances quite constrained, a huge part of our approach has been how can we work with the market, how can we work with partners, what is their appetite to work alongside us in order to unlock some of these schemes. And the messages we're getting back from the market is that they are very much up for working with boroughs that have a pro-growth mentality, that are capable of being mature partners, and that have an eye on the long-term prize.
And the capacity to deliver it.
Critically, because ultimately speaking, if the capacity isn't within the organisation, the conversation is only ever partial.
So is that part of what drove you to create the business case for growth?
Yes. So many will be aware of the National Industrial Strategy and the London Growth Plan. We wanted to get there first with London's first borough-level business case for growth. And so a number of months ago, we set off on a journey to say what really matters to Hounslow's economy, what are the key levers we can focus on, and how can we work with others in order to realise them. And we came up with 2 places, 2 sectors and an overarching theme. The 2 places are Feltham and the Golden Mile. And the two bits of the economy that we want to focus on is our part of the wider Heathrow economy and the media and production hub that is focused on the Golden Mile. The final bit to all of that is a cross-cutting focus on net zero and green, which we're massively passionate about.
And that business case gives you the rationale for investing in your capacity to be able to work with those partners and be that business partner that the private sector is looking for.
Exactly that. So we have a great initial capacity here within Hounslow. We've got an excellent council housing delivery team. I'm looking to grow a team with capacity in estate regeneration, area regeneration, inward investment, sector development. I want us to be in a position to partner with those looking to invest in Hounslow and to smooth that journey for them as much as possible, while also securing value, both financial, social, economic and environmental, for the citizens of Hounslow.
So is in that recruitment drive, in that growth drive that you've got as an organisation, is the availability of the skills that you need one of the issues that you face, one of the things that needs to change in order for you to deliver more homes? And if it is, what role do you think the government's new skills hub programme is going to play in that? You know, is enough being done to develop those skills that you need?
It's a really good question, and one of the things we talk most about is having people with the right skills in the right parts of the organisation in order to be able to support development coming forward. It would be fair to say that for as long as I've been in the sector, skills has always been talked about as an issue. So I don't know that we're going to fix this quickly. What's needed is a sustained programme of investment in the skills that keep this economy thriving, keep it building. And so I think that's going to be a multi-annual programme of investment in people. As an employer, what I'm determined to do is to invest in the skills of my existing staff, to recruit well by creating a really exciting programme and a really exciting place to work so that people will want to and will choose Hounslow over possibly other places, and then to kind of focus on their growth and their development over time.
Peter, what else needs to change for you to be able to deliver more new homes in Hounslow?
So, the government came on board and day one said this has to be a government of growth. What I read from that was that growth was the counterpoint to austerity.
Okay.
So if growth equals investment, we have to start investing again.
Yeah.
And that investment will ultimately yield new homes. But who's going to fill those new homes? Who's going to pay for them? And so for me, growth also means growth in the economy. Take the Golden Mile in Hounslow, as part of Brentford. Celebrating its centenary next year. 100 years of being at the heart of Hounslow's economy.
So this is the Great West Road.
The Great West Road, or my personal favourite label for it, the Golden Mile. And let's hope it can be golden once more. It is the heart of our media production cluster here in Hounslow. 64% of London's media production jobs are in Hounslow, the majority of which on the Golden Mile. Our strategy for the Golden Mile recognises that we must see the economy grow first and foremost to create the conditions in which the delivery of homes can be received.
Right.
So that's absolutely fundamental. The Golden Mile has the potential for 14,000 jobs and 7,000 homes.
Yeah.
But the story has to start with the economy and the 14,000 jobs. Otherwise, as an overall economy, who knows if we'll ever get to those 7,000 homes.
Yeah, and you're just creating a commuter town, a dormitory town for other places in London, and that's not the strategy. Why is that not the strategy?
So I think we've got to remember, people often fall into a trap of thinking you've got the central activity zone and then people scratch their heads and think, there's not really much else going on. Hounslow is a £15 billion economy.
Yeah.
Just Hounslow. That's bigger than Belfast, to put it in context, or Sheffield, to name another one. Yeah. So when we think about growth in the UK, Hounslow and West London are a major opportunity to drive growth in those key sectors that are internationally tradable. Yeah. And it's not all about the central activity zone, which of course we're a big fan of, etc. But there are other parts to the UK's economy, and we in Hounslow want to play our part to contribute to UK PLC, help generate that growth, and as part of that, deliver an awful lot of homes that are desperately needed for our residents.
Peter O'Brien from Hounslow Council, thank you very much for your contribution to delivering 1.5 million new homes.
Pleasure.
So that wraps up another episode of 1.5 million new homes, the local government challenge, sponsored by Redloft and Hadley Property Group. We're going to be back with more from Hounslow, but in the meantime, if you like what we're doing, please click like or subscribe. Thank you very much indeed, and we'll see you next time.